I met some people earlier from Ohio, and I interviewed, this company is located in Ohio, and matter of fact, in Cincinnati. And talking to the CEO years ago, I said, what's the secret to business? A little company called Procter & Gamble. And they said, oh, mastering and executing the fundamentals. Mastering and executing the fundamentals. That's what your business is all about. If you take care of the customer, everything else takes care of itself. It hasn't changed, those of you who have been in retail for a number of years. That's what we're talking about. Those of you who ski, what's the fundamental about skiing when you're going down that slope? Somebody said, don't fall. Fundamentals of golf. What's the fundamentals of golf? Keep your head down all the way through. Somebody over there yelled out, hit it with the stick. Hit it with the stick. Those are the fundamentals. So I came up with my list. If I was in your place, what would be the fundamentals that I need to be successful in your business? First thing that I would say to you is you have to avoid a condition called DITWLY. D-I-T-W-L-Y. It means did it that way last year. How many of you have second and third and fourth generations operations with your family? Can you relate to the DITWLY? Did it that way last year? You got some stuff that's so cherished, you can't let it go, can you? You got to take a sledgehammer to all those outdated things and do what? Crack them and move ahead. So that's number one. You have to avoid DITWLY. How about accountability plus? Number two. It's not how hard you push the rock, it's how far you push the rock. You're at a meeting with your employees and you say to them, hey, let's try this. Has this ever happened to anybody in this room? We don't do things like that around here. We've tried it before. It hasn't worked. Has it ever happened to anybody? I know it happens to me when I have meetings, right? What do you do about that with those employees? It's called fire hose management. You give everybody a water pistol in the room, and you as the owner or the manager of the operation, you get the XP40, the bazooka. The first person who says any of these types of things, they get hosed by their colleagues. Fire hose, you will eliminate all of this negativity in the future. Or how about all throughout your store or all throughout your office, make up a big sign. And the sign says, no excuses. Next fundamental, addiction to closing. Everybody's got it in this room. You refuse to lose. Next one is you've got to be an adventurer in your business, in retail like you've never been before. Go where you've never gone before. And then we have one called you have to avoid isolation. A desk is a dangerous place to view your customer. Or as Peter Drucker once said, the management guru, he says, the biggest problem with owners, operators, management people is the problem of hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids. You don't get up off your derriere and do what? Get out there as much as you maybe should sometimes. You're walking through the parking lot. There's a piece of paper down there. All of your employees are already watching you, watching every move that you do day in and day out. How many of you bend over and pick up that piece of paper? Yes. And you know what happens if you don't? They say, well, if he doesn't want to pick, or she doesn't want to pick up this piece of paper, why should I bother? We've heard about the legendary stories of Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's. He used to be legendary, going out to his parking lots and picking up papers. They thought he was from the Department of Health. They didn't know who he was. It's avoiding isolation. There's a retailer. Anybody here from Pennsylvania, that area? Then you may have heard of this company called Weiss Markets. They're in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. It's about 400 or 500 retail grocery stores. The CEO was not spending enough time with his employees. Norman Rich, they took up a collection and they manufactured a milk carton, and on the side of the milk carton they put his photo, missing Norman Rich. Now we're laughing, and guess what? But we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. I don't spend enough time with my employees the way I should. You've all got employees, right? How many of you know the names of the children of all of your employees that work for you? Show of hands. I should see 95 to 100% in this room. You know the names of the children, right? How many of you know the names or the location of the parents of the people who work for you? Show of hands. Oh, you got to go back and try this then. You want to try and change the culture so that they will follow you up the hill anywhere you go, all your employees? Find out the names of the parents of the people who work for you and where they're located. and write a handwritten note. Dear Mrs. So-and-so, I just want to let you know your son, your daughter, they work for me, and they are doing a spectacular job. You will not believe, they will come in after they get the call from their mom and dad. They just called me and said, that was so nice of you to send me that note, and they will be crying. What's one of the problems you got with your employees? Motivating, inspiring them? You want to change the entire force? It's called an appreciation letter. We don't write these anymore. People don't write notes. It's all email. When's the last time you wrote a letter to one of your customers, thanking them in handwritten form, thanking them for shopping in your store? There's a few of you. But we're trying to get more people in the front door, are we not? Can you imagine leveraging that, all of your thousands of customers you have, and say, you know what? The owner writes thank you notes. You say, well, I don't have time. Well, the CEO, Doug Conant, who just retired from Campbell's Soup Company after 30 years, hand wrote 30,000 letters over the period of 30 years. Wow. We're going through the list of the fundamentals to be leadership at its best. The next one I would say is you have to be a chief learning as well as a chief questioning officer. What I mean by that is, to every one of your employees, you have to be a can opener to their minds. You have to unzip the top of their heads and put fresh ideas in there. Why do questions work? It's real simple. The way the brain works, when you get hit with questions, instinctively your brain has to get some type of closure on it. It also stimulates your brain. It's real simple. What's the return on questions of why I'm so adamant about it now? How would you like to get that one-on-one with all of your employees? It draws them out. It pulls them out. Does it not? Absolutely. It's the cement to engage all of your employees. So if I were in your business, what question would I ask? I would ask, first question, major question, what business am I in? What business am I in, and why do I exist? What do I intend to be? It's not sort of what do you want to be known for, not what are you doing. Most of you would like to be known, Ken Fish, I don't know if Ken's in the room or not, he says, I want to be known as the best supplier. Wade Allen down there in Hall's Hardware down in Florida, he says, I want to be the best hardware in the county. Being the best. BMW has a slogan, it takes the best to be the best. Pixar, quality is our best strategy. Or Lego, only the best is good enough. That's what we're talking about in terms of the fundamentals of what it takes.